Yeah, Vikas. So let's continue the discussion on Amrit Kaal, and that's a very important aspect of equity markets. The way we see equity
Right.
markets in the long term,
Right.
and how India is becoming extremely attractive. In
Absolutely.
terms of the growth opportunities. Uh, Now we have talked in our previous videos in terms of the what are the estimates in terms of the overall size of economy. Let's say 25 years down the line, it's a multi-trillion, like something like a 50 trillion economy is a possibility. Now the question is that obviously we have talked about the growth rates, what goes behind those estimates, but how does one achieve that growth, right? That kind of
Correct.
sustained, consistent,
Right.
higher growth.
Right.
So obviously there is this, there is a concept of virtuous cycle of sustainable growth.
True.
uh, this is the idea that I wanted to discuss today, and I think it all starts with investments in the growth assets, right?
Right. Right.
And that sets the pace, ball rolling to to achieve that kind of higher growth rate. So just talk about this, the cycle of growth, and
Sure.
how this is closely linked to the Amrit Kaal concepts in terms of achieving the vision of Amrit Kaal.
Sure. Yeah. So let's take a simple example before that, before the real country example.
Hmm.
Let's imagine that you were doing some manual labor and you're producing something by hand,
Right.
right? And then you got a hammer,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
And so that increased your productivity significantly,
Sure.
and which means your earnings became more,
Hmm.
right? As a producer, as a laborer, and now you had more surplus money, and you went and bought another tool with it,
Hmm.
and now your productivity became even
Even
more.
more.
You had more money now again.
Correct.
Again, you went and bought one more piece of equipment.
Right.
Now you have even more money, right? By
Hmm.
by producing more.
Right.
Now you use that money to make a nice little factory or
Yeah.
workshop,
Right.
right? And so on.
Right.
So you understand how this works.
Hmm. Hmm.
Same way, when you go to a country, the first thing is to, like I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, that the population is there, but if the guy is unskilled,
Hmm.
first example, right?
Correct.
He's working in the same environment, but everyone is unskilled. Then the productivity is at some level. Now you skill them up, you
Right.
teach them something to do faster or better.
Sure.
Productivity is gone
Hmm.
up,
Gone up.
and you have some surplus money, right?
Hmm.
So same way the whole economy, if you have made people more skilled,
Hmm.
education
Right.
or training, the productivity has gone up.
Gone up.
So first you invest in training and
Hmm.
this thing. Next you invest in infrastructure.
Right.
Okay, things transporting from here to there,
Yeah.
right? That itself, power is not available, so
Hmm.
you make power available. You have roads
Hmm.
which are wide roads and quickly you can transport. You have railways which can transport cheaply, right?
Right.
Or ports or airports, right? So you put all those things in place.
Yes.
The infrastructure.
Hmm.
Next, so we have invested a lot of money in infrastructure, whatever it was. Rather than giving freebies,
Hmm.
the better use is to put it in infra, right? So now that infra is there, next, there were bottlenecks like policies or taxes, right? So GST created a single market.
Correct.
In principle. Okay, so now you have GST. Now you need a platform where you can sell across India. So
Correct.
Amazon and Flipkart were definitely there,
Hmm.
but ONDC also has come in.
Correct.
Right? Now ONDC is there, it's fine, but how do you pay for it? So you have UPI or other payment methods, right?
No.
Which can easily do small 1 rupee transactions across India. And then how do you deliver? So the logistics, having the trains,
Then
freight,
multimodal hubs.
multimodal hubs, and the vehicles
Right.
and fuel, all that available seamlessly and moving fast. Right? So now you can see that first you invest in the assets, assets like infrastructure, digital infrastructure, as well as physical infrastructure,
Right.
and then the machinery and equipment and training and all of that. That creates more surplus,
Right.
which creates more surplus taxes for government, which if the policies are right, government can redirect them into even more productive infrastructure, and so on.
Right.
And this could be done privately as well. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, so that's the cycle I think we have kicked off, strongly in last few years.
Right.
And to really to mention that, what is the kind of assets that we have created, the growth assets we have created,
Hmm.
which have already started resulting in that,
Hmm.
you know, the higher revenue levels,
Right.
and creating more cash to further deploy and to
Absolutely.
create more growth assets. I think that's where we've already reached. And I think what you see right now on your slide kinds of summarizes the impact of, you know, last few years of dedicated efforts in terms of coming up, you know. So the Gati Shakti was a concept which was introduced, which basically targets the logistics, you know,
Correct.
the hardcore physical infrastructure that you need before, you know, you can take on any kind of a further development program.
Absolutely.
We have seen, you know, massive allocations coming to roads, massive allocations coming to railways, and
Absolutely.
so on. I think that's, and you know, the plans to, you know, have more ports and more airports and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I think that's just investing in the growth assets,
Physical infrastructure. Yes.
and those growth assets have already started in, you know, delivering higher, you know, growth
Absolutely.
already.
Absolutely.
Right? And then, as you talked about the digital infrastructure, right?
Correct.
ONDC, UPI, Aadhaar
5G.
based, and unleashing a lot of business, new business ideas, new business models, which has already shown the growth part of, you know, that you create digital assets and then you see the growth coming in, right?
Absolutely.
And you know, now the focus area is on, you know, the sunrise sectors or productivity enhancement, or you know,
Correct.
supporting various ventures where, you know, which are at a nascent state, like, you know, like
Absolutely.
green hydrogen or
Correct.
electric vehicles. And so
Right.
government has come out with, you know, performance linked incentives and so on. I think
Correct. Correct.
that's exactly precisely the investing in growth, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Bang on.
so that's has really helped. I think we have started seeing the green shoots, but this is the cycle that we want, you know, the audience, the investors to really understand that it's not going to happen out of magic or something. It's
Absolutely.
this hardcore you know, planning and investments that are happening. And now a lot of other players are getting attractive. We have a very vibrant, like, a startup culture
Absolutely.
and community that is evolving, and
And
private sector
FDI
is
is
supporting.
coming in, right?
Exactly, right,
And like Tesla or
right,
whatever, right? Apple is
including,
producing in from India to the world.
correct.
So you have private companies, you
Hmm.
have investors coming in,
Right,
and then you have to have agreements, multilateral agreements, right?
right,
Or bilateral agreements with countries
correct,
to export or for them to invest and buy and so
right,
on
right,
in a win-win manner.
correct. Yeah, so this is the cycle that we wanted to discuss. We'll be watching this very closely, all the developments happening on this front, you know, how the capital allocation is taking place, how it is creating further, you know, freedom in terms of having more capital to further allocate for growth and assets, and further have, you know, higher and higher GDP numbers and other growth metrics.
Absolutely.
But this is something as fundamental as it can get, and this is what, you know, the investors should keep focusing on.
Perfect. Perfect. Beautiful.
Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for more stuff. So always keep in mind that investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing, and also that registration granted by SEBI, membership of BASL, and certification from NISM in no way guarantee performance of the intermediary or provide any assurance of returns to investors.